on the WWE Network. The leader of Legado del Fantasma will go one-on-one with a man who claims that NXT will be his house for the Cruiserweight Championship. Also, the Poison Pixie takes on the Genius of the Sky for the World Crown of the Women's Division, and an unlikely underdog will rise to claim the Prince's Kingdom when the NXT World Championship is on the line. But before it is time for the Poison Pixie and the Genius of the Sky to meet face to face, before it is time for that underdog and the Prince to lay it all in the ring, before it is time for NXT TakeOver 31, it's time for the rundown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another video right here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. This is the official rundown for NXT TakeOver 31, which of course is streaming live, like I said, this Sunday, October 4th, 2020, with the pre-show starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We are back in action once again after a shaky weekend last weekend where I had an unfortunate migraine. Obviously, it was all of the activities that I've been doing with work and college. Of course, the brand has been a huge priority of mine. I have been going balls to the wall, especially with all of the modifications, especially the live LFUs that I've been doing right now. But I'm back, better than ever, because no one does it as good as me. But as you can see, I'm continuing the continuous streak of rundowns with guests, and I am not alone here, ladies and gentlemen. Because today, to help me dissect NXT TakeOver 31, a lifelong wrestling fan, one of my day one A1s, one of the most loyal members of the DJ Storms posse that I think I have ever seen in my entire tenure of doing this, 3+ years, and this man has been with me through it all. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome, for the first time ever, for the very first time ever, on the channel, Matt Moody. How you doing, my friend?
DJ Storms, thanks for having me on your channel, and that intro is phenomenal. Very phenomenal. And to be honest, I've never been a guest on anyone's channel, whether it's a podcast or a YouTube channel, but being 32, this is a first time experience for me. But am I nervous about it? Heck no. This is a chance for me to, for those who've never heard of me, get a chance to talk wrestling and hopefully they know what I can bring to the table to anyone that, like I said, has never heard me before. And I'm here to talk NXT TakeOver, then right here on the rundown.
I could dig it. I'm glad that I could be the first person that you collaborate with. I'm actually wondering myself. You've been a staple on Twitter. You've been a staple on Facebook, Instagram. You have been such a staple in the community. I'm surprised that you don't have a podcast or you don't have a channel of your own. It's like a head scratcher that I've never seemed to figure out.
It's coming. It's coming. I hopefully next year sometime I might be working on a little YouTube.
Really?
They give me a laptop and I do so. Yeah, I think about getting me a laptop and then maybe, just maybe, I'll be in front of that laptop streaming videos on YouTube, and be in that class with yourself and TM and rest of the other YouTubers out there that do great work, to make themselves good and to make everyone watch you guys. So I'm hopefully be on the lookout for that sometime next year.
I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm going to be one of the first people to subscribe. Trust me on that one. But we're here to talk about NXT TakeOver 31. Now, before we do that, first things first, as of course, we need to run through the motions like we always do here. First things first, you got to support the brand. You got to support the DJ Storms brand. And let me tell you something. Every single way to support the DJ Storms brand, it's free of charge, people. It's really not that hard. Matt Moody over here is doing it. You can do it too. And it all starts by following me on Twitter at HistoryMakerDJS. I, of course, am the Albert Einstein of the IWC. No one is as smart as me. I mean, call it what you will, but it's the fucking truth. Just pointing it out there. Of course, follow me on Instagram and Periscope at the DJ Storms. I'm thinking, possibly when this college semester ends, I'm thinking of streaming on Periscope a little bit more here and there, kind of as a way to get away from DJ Storms, because obviously, as you know, the whole DJ Storms persona, obviously that's not me. I just do it to enhance myself. So I think I may be doing some streams on Periscope during the holiday season to try and break everything down and try and give you guys a little window into my life. You know what I mean. Of course, add me on Facebook as well. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is stormstakeover@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook, where you can find Mr. Matthew Moody. Of course, all the links are in the description. Now, if you guys haven't already done so, what are we? We're about 7-8 minutes into the video. If you guys haven't already liked the video, I don't know what the fuck you're doing by now. Like the video. I mean, come on. I want to get into the eyes of many, many others. I want to get into the eyes of hundreds and thousands of other people. I want to grow. I want to expand. So you're going to have to hit the like button. And when you hit the like button, you got to keep the chat a-rolling. I know there's a lot of people in the chat looking to talk about NXT TakeOver 31. So please keep the chat alive. Spark up the conversation. And when you spark up the conversation, you got to hit the subscribe button. As, of course, I got some goals I want to reach. And when you hit the subscribe button, you got to hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. I mean, it's the only time you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination. This beautiful mustache right here. Hang on one second. Do I have it? I think I may have it. Hold up. Oh, I have it. There we go. Just touch it up just a little bit right there. Anyway, people, everyone wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Let's just be real here. Anyway, so enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. We're going to get straight into the festivities here on the rundown. As of course you know, NXT has not been the same ever since WrestleMania, and for the obvious reasons, Vince McMahon has obviously had his influence over it. They have really pushed their agenda on NXT to really just beat All Elite Wrestling in the ratings, which really is not the proper technique in order to run a brand, if you know what I mean. If you're looking at something as competition and you think that you can be the only game in town, then you're ultimately going to end up hurting yourself. We already know this. Obviously, they have pushed the main stars throughout the course of the summer without even thinking about building up any new stars. And then on top of that, Vince unnecessarily purged NXT of 6 people? We've had Dominic Dijakovic and Keith Lee and Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez. I still don't know why they're on the main roster. What is Keith Lee on the main roster doing? What is he? having a DQ at every other fucking match? Dominic Dijakovic, why did they put him on the main roster? To wear a Bane mask and a Grim Reaper cloak? I mean, come on. What did you put Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez on the main roster for? To wear Hannibal Lecter masks? So, I don't know what they're doing there. But I would like to hold out some hope that we do see an improvement. And I do believe that this takeover is going to be the start of that. I do believe that this takeover can bounce NXT back and really generate some interest back into NXT, at least I hope. And I'm not trying to be an NXT shill, because everyone knows that I'm a shill of nothing. I give it to you how it is. I do not sugarcoat anything. And I'm one of the few people that actually doesn't sugarcoat anything. But as far as the takeover goes, and I'm not even trying to hype up NXT as something that it's not, but this takeover could very well be the second best takeover of the year. And because nothing's going to top TakeOver Portland. TakeOver Portland this year was undoubtedly the best takeover that they put on this year. Probably one of the top 3, top 5 best takeovers ever was TakeOver Portland. But this takeover I do expect to be good. The card looks great. So we're going to start off with the first match here. Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream. And I'm actually, since it's your first time here, Matt, I'm actually going to hand this over to you. Give me your expertise analysis on Kushida versus the Velveteen Dream, and who do you think's going to win?
You know, I love this side of Kushida. A more vicious side of Kushida. Something that I hope that he can display to the Velveteen Dream, who nobody cares about. And quite frankly, no one would be upset if Velveteen Dream doesn't ever succeed in a professional wrestling ring again. Because we all know about Velveteen Dream's history. And, of course, nobody cares. So, obviously, I'm rooting for Kushida to win. Maybe this win over the Velveteen Dream, if beating Velveteen Dream, will be the start of something special for Kushida, or even build momentum going into 2021, because he really needs a signature win.
Very true. Very, very true.
And beating Velveteen Dream would be that high that Kushida can tackle. So I'm rooting for Kushida to win. I want Kushida to win, and I'm picking Kushida to beat Velveteen Dream. Dream over for the Velveteen.
So, you did mention that Kushida, he needed that signature win. Kushida, he has really had a bad time in NXT, mainly because of the fact that he was kind of bitten by the injury bug for about 2 months when he was facing off against Walter. He had a great match with Walter. He lost. He actually sustained a wrist injury. Then he was out for 2 months. Then, obviously, he came back, and then he started up 2020 pretty much in a position where he really wasn't doing anything.
What?
I mean, because of the pandemic. The pandemic kind of halted his momentum, and then Vince McMahon, obviously, he pushed Drake Maverick onto everyone in the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. And if we're going to be quite honest here, I'm still wondering why Kushida wasn't in the finals of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament. But I would like to hope that this could very well catapult Kushida into the position that we all know he can be in. I am very much looking forward to this match. I'm looking forward to seeing what Kushida can do with a guy like Velveteen Dream. Now, here's something that we need to take into consideration, and I actually want to tie this into the NXT Cruiserweight Championship match later on in the night, which we'll talk about, but does Kushida use this momentum to go after Damien Priest and the North American title at the next TakeOver, or sometime between now and the next TakeOver? Or is Kushida going to use this momentum for Velveteen Dream, and the victory that he gets over the Velveteen Dream, is he going to use this to potentially become the next Cruiserweight champion? Now, that's a toss-up right here. Where do you think Kushida goes after his win over the Velveteen Dream?
For me, I have to go with the Cruiserweight Championship group. And, no offense to, him going after the North American title, but there are a lot of really interesting wrestlers there. There are a lot of talented wrestlers like Damien Priest as the holder of the gold. Johnny Gargano could possibly win it. And there are other guys. I mean, it's too stacked for Kushida to go after the North American title at this point. More like the Cruiserweight Championship, because, other than Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott, who else behind those two can go after, that Cruiserweight Championship? And I think Kushida is someone who can, if he beats Velveteen Dream, he can go after that Cruiserweight Championship. And like I said, I would say more Cruiserweight Championship group than the North American title at this point.
At this rate, it'll probably be the best route for him. I really don't see him getting called up to the main roster anytime soon. He's probably going to spend at least another 2-3 years down in NXT, so it would make sense. But we're in the same boat here. Kushida going over the Velveteen Dream would be the logical choice here. I do believe that Kushida is going to go over the Velveteen Dream, and we'll have to wait and see. I do believe that either a North American or an NXT Cruiserweight Championship opportunity could come out of the victory over Velveteen Dream. We'll have to see how it plays out. But speaking of championships, we're going to talk about the NXT North American Championship match between Damien Priest and Johnny Gargano. Now, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Gargano, he does not deserve a North American Championship match. And I'm still trying to figure out why they gave him a North American Championship match. Well, actually, I know why they gave him a North American Championship match. Mainly because of the fact they needed a big North American Championship match for NXT TakeOver, because they announced the TakeOver like less than 3 weeks before it was actually taking place. And you're not going to announce Johnny for a fucking NXT Championship opportunity when he didn't come down to the final two in that Iron Man match that we had all those weeks ago. So they gave him a North American Championship opportunity because Damien Priest needed a challenger, and WWE, like the company that we know that they are, or at least NXT, having Vince McMahon's influence all over it, they did not build anyone else up for Damien Priest. And let me tell you something, I love Damien Priest. Damien Priest, he is doing undoubtedly some of the best work of his career, and he's undoubtedly been one of the biggest breakout stars of this year. He had a great match with Keith Lee, great match with Finn Balor, won the North American title match, but now he's kind of in a position kind of like Drew McIntyre, where he's having these great matches as champion, and he's doing great for himself as the champion, but none of these challengers that you're lining up for Damien Priest are credible. Johnny Gargano hasn't had a match since the NXT North American title ladder match at TakeOver 30. So, it really doesn't make too much sense as to why he's getting this opportunity. However, I'm not really going to complain all that much, because though it doesn't make sense, we are going to get a great match. I mean, it's Johnny fucking Gargano. I mean, how can you have a bad match with Johnny Gargano in it? Damien Priest, obviously, we know he's doing some great shit. Damien Priest is not losing this. He is not losing this. There is no reason for him to lose this. Johnny Gargano is pretty much in a position where he's putting people over now. It would not make sense for Johnny Gargano to win as Damien Priest. He just got started. He's only held the title for about a month and a half. So, at this rate, Johnny Gargano is being used to enhance Damien Priest's North American title reign, which I don't necessarily mind. I do believe that Damien Priest and his North American Championship title reign is definitely going to benefit from a match and a win over Johnny Gargano. I do expect a great performance from both men, and I do see Damien Priest coming out victorious. It would make sense. Damien Priest continues his North American Championship title reign, and I do believe he's going to head into 2021 with that championship. There is no reason for him to lose it anytime this year. And as far as the lineup for Damien Priest, I could very well see Kushida as a potential challenger. I could see Velveteen Dream as a challenger. I could see Cameron Grimes as a challenger. But ultimately, I do believe that Bronson Reed will eventually take the North American Championship off of him, or Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis, he's been out with an injury. He got an ankle injury heading into TakeOver 30, in which he was not able to compete. I do see Dexter Lumis possibly getting an opportunity towards the beginning of 2021, maybe in February, or possibly the TakeOver at Royal Rumble weekend if they decide to do one. And I do see Dexter Lumis and or Bronson Reed possibly taking the North American title off of Damien Priest. You have legitimacy in Damien Priest. Damien Priest has been built up quite nicely this year. You have a lot of legitimacy in Damien Priest, and I do believe that they're going to use that legitimacy to build up a new star in Bronson Reed and or Dexter Lumis. But as far as this match right here goes, I see Damien Priest coming out victorious over Johnny Gargano. Mr. Moody, I'm going to throw it over to you. Give me your analysis and your prediction.
You know, when I took these notes, it was like it's like I don't know, man. This is 50-50. But after hearing your thoughts on the NXT North American Championship and Damien Priest winning, you know, after second thoughts, I would have to agree. You know, although technically I would say Johnny Gargano would end up being NXT North American Champion. But, you know, this is a matchup of the highly talented breakout stars, you pointed out, in Damien Priest, competing in his third TakeOver against Johnny Gargano, competing in his 19th TakeOver. So will experience be a factor in Gargano's favor? Yes. But that's why he's called Johnny Gargano. He's called Johnny TakeOver. He steals the show. But Damien, who won his first title in NXT in that 5-man ladder match, very good 5-man ladder match in TakeOver 30, has a chance to definitely prove that he belongs as one of the top competitors in NXT. And he's more than capable of it. And I expect this to be a great match. And at the end of the day, I actually do see Damien Priest retaining the NXT North American title. End up sharing a hot tub with all the lovely women, and his reign living forever for now.
For now, at least.
Damien Priest, 50-50, for now at least, to retain the NXT North American title over Johnny TakeOver.
Let me tell you something. If there's one person I want to be right now, I want to be Damien Priest. Although you got to be careful because Brandy Lauren is Joey Janela's girl. I'm not sure if Janela's still watching me. Hey, Janela, if you're still watching me, what's up? But Brandy Lauren, you got to be careful because maybe Joey Janela's going to come for your North American title, Damien Priest. But regardless, I do see a great match. Damien Priest winning would make sense. Now, who do you see them lining up for Damien Priest at the TakeOver in December? Because there's a scheduled TakeOver, I believe, for December 6th. Who do you feel as though they're going to line up for Damien Priest, and who do you think is going to take the title off of Damien Priest eventually?
You know what? This Bronson Reed dude, man. Bronson Reed, over 300 pounds, man. He is so talented in the ring, man. He's a big dude, but he's very fun to watch in the ring. I would love to see him face Damien Priest in December at TakeOver if they decide to book that match for the NXT North American title. You pointed out guys like Dexter Lumis having a chance. Cameron Grimes, I would like to see Cameron Grimes get that opportunity. But after seeing him last Wednesday on NXT and that little silly challenge he had and then get beat up by Ridge Holland, maybe I give him a chance down the road to eventually be the NXT North American champion. But for right now, like you pointed out, Damien Priest could end up being North American champion going into next year. Now, as far as taking the title off Damien Priest, man, that's a different story, man. Because like there's a lot of guys lining up to get a piece of the man of infamy in Damien Priest. But I would like to see Bronson Reed be that guy who can get that title off of Damien Priest, if possible.
It wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. I'm just wondering when they're going to do that, because I don't feel as though they should do it immediately at the next TakeOver. If anything, I do want to see Damien Priest's reign continue into next year, because right now he's doing some great stuff with the North American title, and I don't want to see him on the main roster anytime soon, especially after what happened to fucking Dominic Dijakovic and Shane Thorne and all those other individuals in Retribution, or Failurebution, as my friend Adam calls it. But Damien Priest is our predicted winner. We are Damien Priest across the board here. Next, we're going to talk about the NXT Cruiserweight Championship match here. We got Santos Escobar versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. This is their second match together. Their first match obviously took place at the post NXT TakeOver 30 episode. I believe it was on August 26th. And Escobar ended up coming out victorious there with a headbutt with a mask. I believe it may have had a steel slug in it. But now we are getting another match here. Santos Escobar, let me tell you something. Santos Escobar, I love the presentation of Santos Escobar. And I love how they presented Legado del Fantasma. I love what they've been doing there. It's very old school. It's very, very old school. Very, very, very mafia-like. And I've compared the Legado del Fantasma to a classic type of Spanish mafia, almost like a John Wick type group, if you know what I mean. And I've really gravitated towards them, but the one thing I just don't like is that they haven't really given too many opportunities to Santos Escobar. Swerve has been realistically his only feud, and he's only had one title defense, and he's held the title since June. And I have a feeling that Santos Escobar, while Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma have been great, they don't necessarily feel like a priority, mainly because of the fact that they were pushing the main stars over the course of the summer, trying to get these big matches in on NXT TV to beat out All Elite Wrestling, and the Cruiserweight Championship, it really kind of got put on the back burner, if you know what I mean. And then after TakeOver 30, then they started to focus more on Isaiah Swerve Scott and Santos Escobar, and now we have this Cruiserweight Championship match. And they've built up Isaiah Swerve Scott very, very nicely. I love Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think he's been doing some excellent shit here in 2020. I've been loving what he's been bringing to the table. So this match right here, you were talking about 50-50, Matt. If anything, I see this match as a match that could really swing either way. Because you could argue both points that Swerve's been built up so much. They've been building up Swerve for like 4 months now in this feud with Legado del Fantasma, and saying that he was the only man. He's been the only man to beat Santos Escobar. They've been saying it over and over again, and they've been using that as their agenda. He's the only man to beat Santos Escobar. He's the only man to beat Santos Escobar. And he beat him twice. Now, Santos Escobar, himself, he's been doing some great shit, but he hasn't really had too long of a reign. He's only held the title for about, like, a little bit over 120 days. So, realistically speaking, it could swing either way. And this is one of the two titles that I could see changing hands at the pay-per-view. And I'm going to go with a bold prediction right here. I do believe that this is Swerve's time. I do believe that the cosmos, the wrestling gods, will shine their light down on Isaiah Swerve Scott, and I do believe that destiny will favor in Isaiah Swerve Scott's camp. I think he's earned it. He's certainly proved himself worthy. Santos Escobar, again, he has not really had too much of a reign, but I don't really see a reason why you would build up Isaiah Swerve Scott for so long just to have him lose a second time, unless they're going to give the title shot to Kushida at the December TakeOver, and Kushida's going to beat Escobar then. Now, that's a possibility. I don't know. But either way, Swerve and Kushida, those two men are the top two contenders to take the title off of Escobar. So if it's not Swerve, then it's going to be Kushida. So, again, it's a very hard match to predict. I don't necessarily know which way it's going to swing. And I guess that's a good thing. I guess you could look at it as a good thing because NXT, they've really lost that fun unpredictability factor where we don't know what's going to happen, but whatever way they go, it's great. So I'd like to believe that this is that fun unpredictability factor that we're talking about. Whichever way they go, it's going to be a great outcome regardless. And I'm going to stick with my bold prediction. I do believe that this is Swerve's time, and I do believe that we see a new NXT Cruiserweight Champion with Isaiah Swerve Scott going over Santos Escobar. Moody, the floor is yours.
Santos Escobar has been very impressive since winning the Cruiserweight Championship. And he's truly dangerous, especially in the camp of Legado del Fantasma with Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. They've been a force as a trio now. However, Isaiah Swerve Scott, he's very talented in the ring. And like you said, he's the only guy that's beaten Santos Escobar. But can he do it on the biggest stage, which is TakeOver? That remains to be seen. Give these men 15, 20 minutes to put on a good match, and they're going to tear the house down. And plus, given the fact the Cruiserweight Championship's on the line for the first time at a TakeOver, it's historic itself. I give the edge to Swerve Scott to win the Cruiserweight Championship. I think his determination will be the difference against the highly skilled champion in Santos Escobar. No mask needed. No Legado del Fantasma getting involved. I see Swerve Scott here taking the Cruiserweight Championship. Swerve for the goal. Oh, give me Swerve Scott to win.
So, if Swerve Scott goes over Santos Escobar, now, who do you believe that they're going to line up for him? Because realistically speaking, they may have no choice but to go with Swerve and Kushida at the next TakeOver. And that's really kind of booking themselves into a corner. And we're going to talk about them booking themselves into a corner with the next match. But right now, if Swerve Scott goes over, who do you line up for him? Because realistically, if Swerve is going to win this, then he should hold the title going into 2021 and probably drop it at the TakeOver before WrestleMania, like at the end of March. And that would realistically be a nice lengthy six month long title reign for Swerve. It would really help solidify him as a credible champion, as a credible contender. Maybe he could boost up to the North American Championship title picture after the Cruiserweight Championship reign. But if Swerve is to win, who do you line up for him?
It's interesting. You think we could end up seeing a rematch between Swerve Scott and Santos Escobar, and possibly Santos getting back the title? Then we see someone like Kushida take the title off Santos Escobar. I mean, I don't know, because the Cruiserweight division, it's Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott, and it's like, who else is going to step up and challenge whoever comes out of that Cruiserweight title match at TakeOver being either Swerve Scott, who we have predicted to win, and either Santos Escobar. But right now, for me, I would go with Santos beating Swerve Scott in a rematch. Now, I don't know when, if they might have that rematch. And then I see Kushida, possibly taking the title off of Santos Escobar. Perhaps.
Could we possibly see a guy like Cameron Grimes or a guy like Jake Atlas possibly go forth and challenge Swerve?
Possibly Cameron Grimes if, the NXT North America title opportunity doesn't come for Cameron Grimes, or Cameron Grimes doesn't get that opportunity at the NXT North America title, then possibly we could see him go after the Cruiserweight title. Jake Atlas is a dark horse to become Cruiserweight champion. I could see him end up winning the title possibly next year sometime. But right now, short answer, Cameron Grimes.
Well, there is someone else. They could do Tony Nese. And let me tell you something. I remember watching... I watched 205 Live as well, and I remember a few months ago, actually a few months ago, like in July, I do believe that I remember seeing a like 23, 24-minute match between Swerve and Nese, and it was the only match on that show. It was a great fucking match. It was a great fucking match at that. Great fucking match. So, if they want to, they could recreate that with Tony Nese and Isaiah Swerve Scott. And Tony Nese could really be used as an interim opponent if Isaiah Swerve Scott is to win the Cruiserweight Championship. Because, again, if Swerve wins, you need to line up opponents for him to beat. And then eventually, in slides Kushida, and we get that match that I really wanted to see between Kushida and Isaiah Swerve Scott, one-on-one, and Kushida can win the title then. So if they want to, they could do Tony Nese. I'd actually love to see Tony Nese potentially go after Isaiah Swerve Scott. That would be an excellent match. And if you haven't seen that match, go check it out.
And speaking of Tony Nese is a former Cruiserweight champion.
Exactly.
He beat Buddy Murphy before he was Murphy back in WrestleMania 35 last year, which is long time ago. But yes, Tony Nese is definitely somebody, the premier athlete who could end up being that replacement as well.
It really is a shot in the dark. We're going to have to wait and see who they build up for Swerve, but I would like to see Swerve win. Even though, again, Santos Escobar, he really hasn't done too much with the Cruiserweight title. It's only been like 4 months. But I do believe that this could very well be Swerve's time. I just feel it this time. The way that they've been building him up. If not, then the only logical choice is going to be Kushida. And Kushida's going to have to beat Santos Escobar. Unless they're planning on having Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. Unless they plan on having them defeat Breezango for the tag titles, and then all 3 men hold the gold. I'm actually still wondering why the tag team titles haven't been defended on a TakeOver. Like, tag team wrestling, man, they've really shortchanged. Oh my God, they've shortchanged the tag team championships. Tag team titles have not been defended on a TakeOver since Portland back in February. That's definitely the Vince McMahon influence that you can sense. That's definitely the Vince McMahon influence.
And Breezango, hey, look, great to see Breezango, become champions in NXT, but my God, the tag team division, I mean, the main roster and NXT, what's going on with these tag teams? I mean, Breezango, Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, there's just really no depth when it comes to the tag team division in WWE. So that's something that, WWE and especially NXT have to work on going forward, if they're gonna, be relevant, especially tag team division, hopefully they'll be relevant soon. But right now, it's just not there.
And a lot of that, I believe, has to do with that influence from Vince McMahon, and you could definitely sense it. It really has to do with the fact that now that he has his hands on NXT, you can see where he's starting to take over. And obviously, the lack of focus on tag team wrestling is one of those incidents where Vince McMahon is just completely hands-on with it. They have not been focusing on tag team wrestling whatsoever. And it really is sad. It really is sad. I mean, NXT, obviously, it's better than the main roster, but really not by much. The tag team situation, I mean, you got the Undisputed Era, you got Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch, you got Imperium, you got Breezango, you got Legado del Fantasma. Yeah, the Indus Share, who has not been used in, months, and I believe, they're long forgotten, so they're not really going anywhere. But those 5 teams that I originally named outside of Indus Share, that's pretty much your division for now. So, I do believe that we'll probably see Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango sometime down the line. But you had a question?
Yeah, what are the chances that someone from what if one of these tag teams from NXT UK, get kind of lost in the shuffle, maybe bring one of those teams up and have them, maybe go out, make a run at the NXT tag team title, since just no no depth within your tag team division. What are the chances you think that any one of those stars from
they were going to do that,
like a Flash Morgan Webster or Mark?
Yeah, they were going to do that. They were going to do that with the grizzled young veterans at the beginning of the year. They were really pushing the grizzled young veterans in the NXT tag team division before this pandemic happened. And, maybe I'd like to believe that maybe that's coming, but I feel as though the main issue here is the fact that there's the travel restrictions between the UK and the US. And that's been going on ever since March, and I don't see that lightening up anytime soon, at least until we get that vaccine. And that's what's going to be the tough part. Because I do feel as though Triple H was planning on using some of these NXT UK tag teams within NXT, but it just fell apart as soon as COVID surfaced the entire world and pretty much shut down the entire world.
Gotcha.
But I would like to see the grizzled young veterans get used. Once this pandemic starts, I do believe that the grizzled young veterans will be a staple on NXT sometime, because they've already won the NXT UK tag team titles. I do believe that at some point they're going to be set up to win the NXT tag team titles, and they're going to be the first team ever to win the NXT UK and the NXT tag team titles. That's definitely going to be a crowning achievement for them. But me and Matt, we have predicted Isaiah Swerve Scott to win the Cruiserweight Championship. We kind of got a little sidetracked there with the NXT Tag Team Division, although it is worth bringing to light here on the rundown. We're going to talk about the NXT Women's Championship match next between Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. Now, I am a little confused and a little disappointed that they're doing this match now, because realistically speaking, this is one takeover too early. Now, I understand that Tegan Nox, she went down with a legitimate torn ACL. I understand, and I wish the best for Tegan Nox. Tegan Nox and Candice LeRae, they were going into a program. So realistically speaking, you needed something for Candice LeRae, but it doesn't necessarily mean just put her in an NXT Women's Championship match with Io Shirai, especially not now, because Io Shirai, she's only held the title for 4 months. Are you really going to take the title off of Io Shirai after 4 months? You've pretty much booked the women into a corner here. Candice LeRae, realistically, is the correct woman to take the title off of Io Shirai, but why are you doing it now? Why are you doing it now? You already had a good interim challenger set up for Io Shirai, and that was Ria Ripley. Why did you have Ria Ripley tease that she was going to go after Io Shirai at TakeOver 30, and then on top of that, she beat Mercedes Martinez in a steel cage match? Why did you need to have a Battle Royal? Why did you need to give Candice LeRae an NXT Women's Championship opportunity? It really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense, and it's very main roster-esque that you would put Candice LeRae in a position like this way too early, because it's a lose-lose situation here. It really is a lose-lose situation here, no matter which route you go, because Io Shirai is going to get shortchanged, only having a 119-day reign as the champion, number one. And number two, if Candice LeRae loses, then how are you going to rebuild her back up? Unless you're going to have Ria Ripley be an interim challenger for Io Shirai, and then you're going to have Candice LeRae get another opportunity down the line. But realistically speaking, that really wouldn't have made it. It really wouldn't have made it that. What's the word that I'm looking for? It really wouldn't look that smart on WWE's behalf, because you're pretty much using Candice LeRae to enhance Io Shirai's championship reign, only for Candice LeRae to win the title again at a later date. So it's a very complex, convoluted situation. Look, I understand that Tegan Nox went down with injury, but that doesn't mean put Candice LeRae with Io Shirai in an NXT Women's Championship match. Again, I've said before, the best route to go would have been Ria Ripley, because Ria Ripley, she could take a loss, and Io Shirai would have been fine getting a victory over Ria Ripley, and then you could have built up Candice LeRae for the December TakeOver, and that's when Candice LeRae could have won the championship. So this match is also a 50-50 prediction here. I don't necessarily know where they're going to go. I don't necessarily know how they're going to play this out. I would like to assume that they may have a plan set. I like to assume that they may have a plan set, but I don't know. If Johnny doesn't win, which I don't see him winning, then I don't really see Candice winning. But it's a possibility that Candice LeRae could win the championship. I don't know. It's very unpredictable. It's very unpredictable, but like I've said, it's a lose-lose situation. I don't necessarily know who to pick here, but I can't see Johnny Gargano winning, but I can definitely sense that Candice LeRae may win, although they did come out victorious this past Wednesday on NXT. So I'm actually, and because of that, based on professional wrestling and the logic that professional wrestling has to offer, I'm going to go with Io Shirai to retain. I don't know where else they're going to go. I assume that they're probably going to build up Ria Ripley for a match against Io Shirai, probably at the December TakeOver on the 6th, and then Io Shirai is going to win that match, and then she's going to continue her reign going into the new year, and then Candice LeRae could possibly get another opportunity down the line. But going based off of wrestling, I'm going to go with Io Shirai to retain the championship. It's probably the best route to go, considering that she hasn't held the title for very long. I do see Candice LeRae eventually taking the title off of Io Shirai, but based on the fact that Triple H, I know he has heavy investment in Io Shirai, I don't see Io Shirai losing the championship right now. I do feel as though she's going to hold that title for the rest of the year. Matt, let me hear it.
Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae, rematch from TakeOver Toronto 2019. The time when Io Shirai, I mean, if you can call it, started her brief reign as a heel after turning on Candice, and the two had a terrific match that night. Now at TakeOver 31, it's for the women's title, and now you got Candice as this heel poison pixie, and Io as the face of the NXT women's division as champion. Candice is gaining steam, however, from going into this match. She first won the Battle Royal, subsequently then took out, before the Battle Royal, took out Tegan Knox, put her on the sidelines with the ACL injury. And my thoughts and prayers go out to Tegan Knox on a speedy recovery back in the ring suit. And then on the go-home show before TakeOver, she took out Io Shirai to close out the show. So this match should be fantastic. Will it be like the match at TakeOver Toronto last year? I hope so, and perhaps even better. And it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. This can go either way. But I do see Io Shirai, retaining the championship. I love what Io Shirai is, one of the best women's wrestlers we have in this business.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly.
I definitely see Io Shirai. Yeah. I definitely see Io Shirai retaining here over Candice LeRae. This will be a great match. But again, this can go either way. Candice can end up winning the title. Like you said, if Johnny doesn't win, then Candice likely won't be winning either. So, Io Shirai, I got the genius in the sky retaining the belt.
I actually could have sworn that you were going to pick Candice LeRae to win, considering that she's been riding high as of lately. I could have sworn.
Yeah, but though, with and it's possible that Johnny and Candice could be that NXT power couple that could take home the gold on the same night.
Oh, they will. They will, but not now. Not now. If Gargano's gonna win, then he's gonna win the NXT Championship. I see Gargano being the guy to beat Finn Balor, but that's not gonna happen until next year. That's not happening until next year. But I do see Gargano and Candice. I do see Gargano and Candice being that power couple, but it's not going to be. It's not going to be until 2021. I believe that they're waiting for crowds to come back to finally go all in with Gargano and Candice as the NXT power couple. But as of right now, I feel as though Io Shirai and Damien Priest, they're going to remain champions as of now. And now as far as the next TakeOver, who do you see them lining up for Shirai?
Ooh, I want to see Io versus Ria Ripley. And, that's the match that I thought that I wanted to see at this TakeOver.
Same.
But, that all changed. So, you could very well have Io versus Ria Ripley at TakeOver in December for the NXT Women's title. And then perhaps, we could get, Candice LeRae, who could be NXT Women's Champion, possibly WrestleMania weekend next year sometime. But, the women in NXT, man, all praises go out to that division because, there are a lot of talented women there on the roster. Women like Io Shirai, Ria Ripley, Tegan Knox once she comes back from injury, Dakota Kai, you can't count her out as well, although she came up short against Io at TakeOver 30. Shotzi Blackheart is a star in the making. There are a lot of good wrestlers there, but right now it's all about Io Shirai. At this point, being the NXT Women's Champion, but definitely I see Io versus Rhea for December at TakeOver if nothing happens. So that's the way I'm going here with the women's division picture.
It would only make sense at this rate, and I like to have faith that they'll probably rebuild up Candice. But right now I do feel as though the proper decision would be for Io Shirai to continue her reign. I feel as though, and I kind of feel as though they did this mainly because they have nobody else. And it really does kind of show you how much of a detriment Charlotte Flair holding the NXT Women's title was. But thankfully, that's long behind us. Thankfully, that is long behind us.
Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley is an interesting person here because, it hadn't really been the same for Rhea since she dropped that women's title to Charlotte Flair at TakeOver, WrestleMania 36 back in April. And we all know what Charlotte Flair did with the NXT women's title after that. I don't want to go too far into that. But Rhea Ripley, she is somebody that really needs a strong finish, in my opinion. Because, having a strong finish and perhaps winning the title going into next year would be interesting, to say the least. But Rhea Ripley is definitely somebody that I'll be keeping a close eye out on going into 2021 on how they build her into getting back that NXT Women's title.
I'd like to hope that they would rebuild her quite nicely, because they killed all of her momentum from the beginning of the year, and I feel sorry for Rhea Ripley. I really do. It was a pretty disappointing 2020 for Rhea Ripley. We can only hope that 2021 will be better. But we are going to move on to the main event. Now this very, very intriguing main event. A main event that I could have never predicted. Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship. Obviously, this came about because of the simple fact that Karrion Kross got injured. So they went the easy route to get an NXT Championship match on NXT television. They clickbaited you, or they bookbaited you with the Iron Man match, only to crown a new champion on NXT Super Tuesday 2. Finn Balor is the NXT champion now. I do believe that he's going to do some great work as the NXT champion. But right now, we're going to talk about Kyle O'Reilly for a minute here. Let me tell you something. I am very, very interested in seeing what Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor do. Kyle O'Reilly, we all know that Kyle O'Reilly is vastly underrated. Kyle O'Reilly can put on an excellent match when you give him the opportunity. Kyle O'Reilly is a world-class athlete, undoubtedly. The thing that I am just kind of stuck on is why you waited till now to actually push a guy like Kyle O'Reilly. And it goes back to what I said and how they mainly just pushed the main stars and failed to build up new stars until it was pretty much too late. And that has a lot to do with Vince McMahon and him just trying to beat out All Elite Wrestling and then purging NXT, unnecessarily purging NXT. Again, no reason why anyone who got purged should be on the main roster right now. And I've said this numerous amounts of times. The main event of this TakeOver was supposed to be Adam Cole and Keith Lee. Keith Lee was supposed to drop the North American title to Damien Priest. That wasn't supposed to be a ladder match. Damien Priest would have beaten Keith Lee, and then Keith Lee would have gone on to beat Adam Cole at this TakeOver. Then he would have gone on to have a six-month-long title reign and then drop it to Karrion Kross at the TakeOver before WrestleMania. But they did not do that. They didn't do that specifically because of the fact that they wanted to beat out All Elite Wrestling, so they did the double championship match, and then obviously they fast-tracked, meaning Vince, fast-tracked Karrion Kross to the NXT Championship, and then unfortunately he got injured. And now we're here with Finn Balor. And WWE's way of shilling you on Kyle O'Reilly would be to have him beat Bronson Reed, beat Timothy Thatcher, and beat Cameron Grimes all in the same match. I understand what you were trying to do there, but all in all, Kyle O'Reilly, he really doesn't deserve this opportunity. But I am very interested in seeing what these two can do. I do have a feeling that this could very well be the most underrated match of 2020. If they want to, it could probably be the best NXT Championship match in 2020 that we've seen. And that's very, very difficult. It's going to be a very, very difficult task to top, specifically because of the fact that Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole from all the way back at TakeOver Portland, they put on an excellent fucking NXT Championship match in the main event of TakeOver Portland. So it's going to be very hard for Kyle O'Reilly and Finn Balor to top that match. But I do expect a great match. I don't necessarily know where they're going to go with as far as Kyle O'Reilly goes. I do have a feeling that this is really going to be Kyle O'Reilly's way to get up to that main event level, considering that they do need new main event stars after the purge of NXT from Vince McMahon. So I do see this as a stepping stone match for Kyle O'Reilly, and all in all, I do see Kyle O'Reilly having a breakout performance, probably the best performance of his WWE career thus far, and ultimately, Finn Balor will retain. I do see Finn Balor going into the new year as the NXT champion. I really don't see him losing that title this year, and I do see Finn Balor having a long, drawn-out reign, possibly going into Mania weekend with that championship, and I do see him possibly dropping the title to Johnny Gargano in March. So, Moody, I'm going to throw it back to you. Give me your expertise analysis and your prediction.
Kyle O'Reilly is finally getting a singles opportunity in NXT after successful runs with Bobby Fish and the Undisputed Era as tag team champions. And he was born ready for this opportunity. No matter what, he was born ready for this opportunity. He's the hidden gem of the UE. And in the words of Shawn Michaels, he's the best kept secret in professional wrestling. And now he's facing Finn Balor, the reigning, defending NXT champion. One of the best in the business that we have right now. And Finn had to scratch, he had to claw, he had to fight his way to become the champ. You know, he had to fight wrestlers to get to the top. And now the wrestlers have to fight to get a piece of the prince of NXT. And you know, Finn, you know, he's had a Finn means business approach since he came back to NXT. And, you know, he has been a force to be reckoned with. Now, this match is going to be a classic. I expect them to, and they have plenty of respect for each other. You know, as after watching that face-to-face confrontation on NXT, they have plenty of respect for each other. But that respect goes out the window when that bell rings. And when that bell sounds the end, Finn Balor will retain the NXT Championship over Kyle O'Reilly. I agree with you on Kyle O'Reilly having a breakout performance. He's going to give Finn Balor everything that he's going to throw at him. I don't expect nobody expects Kyle O'Reilly to win, you know, other than, you know, Kyle O'Reilly fans. I don't want to bring it up, but Finn Balor, I do see retaining the NXT Championship. Great match here against Kyle O'Reilly coming. Finn Balor to retain the gold.
Now, here's something that we need to take into account. Does Adam Cole go up to the main roster and Kyle O'Reilly really kind of takes over the leadership of the Undisputed Era and we kind of get Kyle O'Reilly as the main event star? Or is Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, are they going to be the singular main event stars now? Could Kyle O'Reilly potentially go after the North American Championship? Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong, they're going to stick to the tag team division. And then Adam Cole, he stays in the main event scene as well. It's a toss-up. But where do you see Finn Balor going for the TakeOver in December? Who do you think they're going to line up for him?
Right now, for me, what do you think about Finn Balor versus Tommaso Ciampa in December at TakeOver? Do you like to see that match, or do you think that would be too early for them to pull the trigger until possibly next year?
I feel as though that one makes the most sense, considering Tommaso Ciampa is really not going to have anything going for him. So they're going to have to build up Tommaso Ciampa to face off against a guy like Finn Balor, and that could very well help enhance Finn Balor's NXT Championship title reign, because I do believe that eventually Johnny Gargano will be the one to take the title off of Finn Balor, and then they're probably going to use Gargano to put over a new star. Don't necessarily know who, but I do definitely see Johnny Gargano being the guy to take the title off of Finn Balor, and I do like your idea. I think Tommaso Ciampa would probably be the best route to go as far as him going up against Finn Balor, and he can enhance Finn Balor's championship reign, because Tommaso Ciampa right now, he could take a loss. It would make the most sense. Finn Balor, he can continue his reign going into the holiday season, into next year. Would make sense. And Kyle O'Reilly, though, does he stay in the main event scene, or does he go to the North American Championship scene? Could we possibly see him versus Damien Priest at the next TakeOver?
Interesting. The one thing I really don't want to see the Undisputed Era go to the main roster right now. I think they're comfortable in NXT. Just let them give them singles opportunities and see what they can do. But I do agree on the possibility of Kyle O'Reilly going after the NXT North American title should he come up short for the NXT Championship. Here and Damian Priest would be a really good match, in my opinion. But I've seen also in this thought here of Adam Cole turning on Kyle O'Reilly, because Kyle O'Reilly is getting this NXT Championship match, and Adam Cole, made possibility that, he's being overlooked by another Undisputed Era member. But I would love to see the Undisputed Era stick together, because they've done so much to that brand. They've dominated NXT. And that's just a little possibility that came up to mind. I would love to see UE stick together, despite those little thoughts of Cole might be turning on Kyle O'Reilly.
Well, yeah, that would make the most sense right now, because the Undisputed Era, there is great value in the Undisputed Era, and if the Undisputed Era is to be called up, they need to be called up as a unit, as all four, and we need to have them. And we need to have them.
Yeah.
We really need to have them on one brand as a unit. Adam Cole in the main event scene, Roderick Strong potentially in the mid-card scene. If they want to do Kyle O'Reilly in the mid-card scene, they could do that. They could do him in the tag team title scene. It definitely is a toss-up, but I don't see them going up to the main roster anytime soon. I do feel as though they're just kind of waiting. They could be waiting until the crowds come back. I'm not sure if you've been sensing that.
Yeah, that's for, like you said, when the crowds come back. But that's kind of another story right now. But right now, Undisputed Era, they're comfortable. They're comfortable with who they are and where they are.
I have a feeling that they probably could be one of these groups, or they could be the individuals that have said, yeah, I want to stay in NXT, because Walter has come out and said that. Ria Ripley has come out and said that. Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, they've come out and say they want to be NXT for life. So I feel as though maybe Undisputed Era is part of that camp. I'd have to continue to research on that. I'll have to continue to keep up to speed on that. But it's definitely going to be interesting, because there's a lot of routes that they could go. And I feel as though maybe it's because that we don't know that that's a good thing. We'll have to see how things play out, and we'll have to see where they go following this takeover. But I do believe that this is going to be a great match. Could be one of the best matches of the year. Could potentially be the best NXT Championship match of the year, although they have a very, very, very tough mountain to climb, especially with Adam Cole and Tommaso Ciampa putting on that excellent main event at TakeOver Portland. But I would like to believe that we are Finn Balor across the board here.
Yes.
Ladies and gents, that wraps up this edition of the rundown. I'd like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into this video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Moody. And before we get out of here, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter. That's Matt_Moody_M. Like to spell it out for you, just in case everybody wants to. It's MATTMOODY_M on Twitter. My Instagram is Moody Strong Style. That's MOODYSTRONGSTYLE on IG. And you can also find me on Facebook at Maximilian Moody as well on Facebook.
And I will be sure to put all those links. All the links are in the description. So go follow Matt Moody on all forms of social media. Matt, thank you very much, man. It's been great. It's been fantastic. And I gotta say, you got a knack. You got a knack for wrestling analytics, and I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table when you actually start that YouTube channel, and hopefully a podcast too. And if you're looking for a podcast co-host, look no further than the Albert Einstein of the IWC. Just point that out there. Just gotta plug myself.
Hey, you know what? Sir, I appreciate you having me on. Being a guest to one of the best content creators on YouTube. Keep doing your thing. Keep kicking ass, gaining subs, and keep up the good work, my friend.
You're damn right I will. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. You have no idea. Means the world to me, Matt. He's Matt Moody. I'm DJ Storms, and this has been The Rundown. And I will see you tomorrow for the live LFU.